Dr. Rosenfarb charges $5,000 for 2 weeks. But he's a humble guy. He doesn't brag about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about this because this is going to be heard by students and by new grads and maybe some old people like me, but it's to inspire us. Yeah.
And even if we all graduate from acupuncture school, I think we still struggle how we're gonna set the acupuncture clinic or even start. A lot of people don't know where to start.
Right.
So that's why we're starting this interviewing for already went through that and established. So I hopefully this episode will help students or practitioners. So our next question is, do you have any specific advice for people who are who wants to build the business in acupuncture field or who are starting their clinics? Do you have any advice for them?
Sure. I mean, I could talk hours, and once again, visit me. We could talk for hours, but I think a lot of us we're going to open up our own businesses, and because there's only so many jobs out there. But just realize that being a doctor and being a business person, they're two different things, and you have to have balance. So here you are spending 4, 6, 8 years of schooling and licensures and national exams and whatever, and you're spending a lot of money and time and money lost by studying instead of working. So I mean, what are we looking at? 100, 150, $200,000 easily when you put it all together?
Yes.
Yet, in my experience, 99% of us won't even spend $500 on a business class.
Wow, that's a great point.
Actually, go ahead, put a poll out there. Say, hey guys, how many of you would spend 500, 1,000, 5,000? I've taken classes that are $10,000
for business.
For business, not
Okay.
Because you could be a fantastic acupuncturist.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, it's medical school, not acupuncture school. But you could be a fantastic doctor, but if your business skills are horrible, or you're giving it away, or whatever, it's like you can only do that so long. So what I've learned is, just like when our patients come to us and they want to get healthier, they can Google it, they can go on the internet, they can buy a book, they can read things, but it's so much better and easier and more efficient if you work with somebody. So if, for example, you want to lose 10 pounds and go to the gym and you talk to the trainer, a really good trainer is going to ask you, hey, how committed are you? And you're like, you know what? Bikini season is coming. I got to lose 10 pounds. A good, trainer would say, okay, you got to come every day. Let's talk about your diet. Let's talk about what to eat, what not to eat. Let's talk about your sleep. Let's talk about your stress. The best trainers I've ever met do these things.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know we can do it ourselves. But once again, if we can, get a mentor, pay for a class, do some training, something, invest in your business side,
Mm-hmm.
And there's several great practitioners. Some of them are acupuncturists, some of them are chiropractors that, some of them are just, business, but there's so many things out there. But just like we all focus so much on the skills, you got to focus on the business side. So, once again, the analogy of the person that goes to the gym, they can lose 10 pounds in a week. I mean, that's a lot, but they can, in theory, they can lose 10 pounds in a month. Yes. So there you are going to the gym for years and you can never lose 10 pounds. But if you go with a plan and a trainer or whatever, like, you're going to get to your goal that much faster. So I say, just like if you want to be a millionaire real estate person, you need to hang around millionaire realtors. You want to be a successful business, you need to hang around successful business people.
Exactly.
And don't look at just acupuncturists. You know, most of us have it's called a chamber, like a chamber of commerce, small business meetups, things like that. But I've learned from realtors, because, you know, think about it. Everyone's selling a house, and realtors are funny because all their business cards always has their face and they're pretty and stuff, you know. But, you know, it's not about the house. They're selling their services, their skills, things like that, right? But it's the sales part of it. And I look at it as ethical sales. Like, as long as you're doing things ethically, legally, ethically, and whatever, like, there's nothing wrong with the word, you know, learning how to sell in business, for example.
Right.
But I would say the easiest and best thing to do is learn from other people. And, you know, whether they own a donut shop, dry cleaners, chiropractors. I know some of us hate chiros. Get that mindset out of there. The chiros could be your best friend. My business partner is a spinal surgeon.
Wow.
For the building, not my clinic, the building, because we bought a 50-50. Why would a spinal surgeon, well, you know, that's a story by itself, but how do we meet? I helped many of his patients avoid surgery, and some of them did the surgery and they were still in pain. They came to my clinic. I got them better. He reaches out to them. He's like, "You're better? What? Acupuncture?" And we met for lunch, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Are you injecting lidocaine? Are you numbing the area?" I'm like, "No,
Acupuncture.
I'm doing acupuncture, herbal med." They don't talk too much about herbs. They don't love herbs too much, but I just say acupuncture, acupuncture. And we became friends. And now he's a holistic doctor. He's a vegan. I'm not a vegan, but, you know, he's a vegan. But even though we're similar, we're different, but we're similar as far as the core values. Like, hey, we want to get the patients off medications. We want to talk about the diet. We want to do. So once again, I would say try to meet other business people. Yes, acupuncturists, you know, shadow, meet, pick the brains, you know. But I think that's the best thing to do, because, like I said, you can go on YouTube and there's a lot of great information. I can give you a lot of free classes and everything. But, you know, if you can, I think the best thing is, like I said, find a mentor.
Okay.
Even if you have to pay for it, you know, even if it's a weekend class and you heard mostly good things about it, but you're not sure or whatever. And, you know, if you have the time, and I'm sorry to tell you, but when you graduate, that's the most time you're ever going to have. Because you're only going to get busier and busier. And what if you have a family? What if you have kids? Oh my gosh, you know, I can't.
So you have to make time to learn about business and then meet people from like different field.
I think it's great. I think it's great. You know, like most of us have, you know, an iPhone or whatever. And, you know, like, let's pretend you open up and you're in California, right?
I'm in California.
What part of California?
We're in Orange County area.
Okay. So let's pretend I'm at South Coast Plaza, you know, or across the street of it, whatever. And there's a cafe next to me. And the other side is I don't know, a restaurant. And then next to them, maybe a chiropractor, whatever. Like, you need to know all those people, you know what I mean? Because you guys can, you know, work together. And, you know, you gotta start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. But, you know, I think that networking is huge. But a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to meet a doctor. I want to buy them donuts, or I want to take him for lunch, and he's going to send me all his patients. In my experience, don't even bother. The only way they're going to send you patients is when they know you, like you, and trust you. And even though Krispy Kreme donuts are really tasty, that's not going to do it. But once they know you and they like you and they trust you, oh my gosh. If you have one doctor sending you patients, you're busy. 2? Oh my gosh. Good luck. You need higher staff. Wow. So it starts with one, you know, and then you work, you know, from there.
Nice. That's really great advice. Do you have any advice for people who are attending to acupuncture school now, for TCM students?
Medical school? Do I have any advice, like, in general, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like in general, life lessons or any advice for them before they graduate and take their license board exam?
I think that the biggest mistake I see for students, even till now, is especially their last year and their last few semesters, they're so focused on the board instead of focusing on the patients. I don't think many of us, once again, this is all my experience, and I've talked to thousands of practitioners over the years. And by the way, get involved in your state association. I'm the president. I'm the president of one of our national acupuncture associations. We used to have one. Now there's two of them. We're triple AOM, AAAOM, and then the other one is ASA. And ASA has done a great job with getting the states working together. But I would say the biggest mistake I see is we focus way too much on the exams and not enough on our patients. What I was getting at is I think a lot of us focus on the wrong things. And I think that the, how do I say this? We want to, my gosh, I don't know how to put into words. See how many thoughts coming in right now.
It's okay.
Bottom line is, I say, focus. Many of us do not do this for money. I don't think many of us say, I want to become a Korean medical doctor, an acupuncturist to make a lot of money. I don't think a lot of us have that idea. But when you're about to graduate, it's like cold feet, like when you're about to get married or something, I think, that fear is going to start settling in. 6 months after you graduate, you got to start paying back your student loans. There's only so many jobs. What are you going to do? You know, this and that. And the money will come. The money will, I promise you, the money will come if you're doing, your heart's in the right place and you're trying to help other people. You know, what you're going to hear, especially during school, 50% fail, acupuncturists fail in 5 years, or 90% fail. And that has been said forever. And that's simply not true. It's not true. Everyone I personally know, everyone that I know that I went to Dongguk with, my classmates, most of them are doing great. Most of them. Some of them had other jobs. I had one guy that was an opera singer. That's still his main job. Hey, to each their own. But you're going to hear like, oh, most of us fail, most of us fail. You got to, pay attention. Where is that coming from? Those kind of words, you know what I mean? Right. And it's okay to have fear, but the more you plan, you know what I mean? Was it you fail to plan, plan to fail? So you have to work smart. I recommend start lean. Maybe rent a room. When I expanded to my second location, so at one time we had 3 locations at the same time. And what I would do is I rented from an orthopedic doctor, because on Wednesdays he was doing surgery. So his whole clinic was empty. So I said, hey, can I rent your space? And I think he was like charging me, maybe it was like $100 or something a day, something like that. Wow. So I was like, sure. And I think most of us, we want to get this beautiful clinic, and we want to get Apple computers and marble tile and a bidet and whatever. And that's fine. But if you don't have that much funds, that much cash ready to go, start lean. I would say rent a room. Consider splitting, meaning like, let's pretend a chiropractor says, hey, we can work together, and it's a 50-50 split, for example. Many people are like 50-50. Oh my God. It's like, you guys have no idea how much it is to start a clinic. The building I just bought, everyone is like, hey, congratulations. I was like, thank you. However, I made a mistake. I never followed up with my tax bill. So 6 months after my taxes were due from my building, not my clinic, my building, I get phone calls, and they're like, hey, you're in default. What are you talking about? Well, you didn't pay your tax bills. I'm like, okay, I never got it in the mail. Too bad. $40,000. and 20,000 was in penalties and interest rates.
Wow.
So it's easy to, once again, it's easy to look at someone saying, oh, you know, must be nice, must be nice, must be nice. It's more expensive than what you think. Because all you have to do is get a piece of paper and be like, well, I could rent my own clinic for, let's just pretend $3,000. In California, it's probably a lot more. 3,000. And they're like, well, my electric bill and my internet and my blah, 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 another $1,000. Okay, now we're at 4,000. Okay. What about supplies? What about needles and herbs and blah, blah, blah. So that's a lot of money. Or you can rent a room. Maybe do what I did. Find out. Maybe some practitioners, like dentists, a lot of them are open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, their rooms are empty. Their office is closed. You know, and don't just look at for other acupuncturists to rent the room. Chiropractors in Dallas, especially, there's a school down the street. There's no Chinese medical schools or acupuncture schools in Dallas. So there's a school down here. It's very big. So there's chiropractors in every block. And they all do acupuncture legally with a one-day class. So you drive by and it says acupuncture and chiropractic, or chiropractor and acupuncture. And then my clinic, acupuncture. So Texas is different. But then once again, so I said, okay, let me flip that around. Let me get my dry needling certification. Let me get to know my chiropractor friends. Let me get to know them, hang out. I was in one chiropractor. I was the groomsman in one of my chiropractor friends.
Wow.
You know? So all I'm getting at is start lean. That's my advice. Start lean. Whether it's a Mexican flea market, whether it's renting a room, maybe sharing a space. Maybe you and another acupuncturist, you know, maybe your styles are very different. Don't be business partners. Be business partners to rent a space, but then have your own clinic for your own, you know, there's so many things you can do. And then you're starting lean. Like, let's pretend, you know, like there's an acupuncturist that a few years ago opened down near my clinic, maybe 5 minutes from my clinic, same main road. And this guy, the reason I found out about him is because I do Groupon for cupping. So I looked at my Groupon numbers and it says acupuncture in Irving. I'm thinking it's a chiropractor. And it's an acupuncturist doing $20 treatments. I'm like, so I wrote him an email, and right before I sent it, I erased it. Because it was like, come on, man, like, you're too cheap. But he just graduated, no experience. Okay. So I said instead, hey, man, welcome to Dallas. I see that you're new. Let's get lunch, man. There's not enough of us. Let's stick together. We became friends. Maybe 2 years later or so, he had trouble financially with his clinic. He had to close. And I said, I offered him. I said, hey, Wednesdays, I'm not here. My rooms are empty. You want to borrow or rent my rooms? $100 a day. Rent this. He almost cried. He almost cried. So that's what he did for a while until he got his feet up. Now he's doing great. He's on TikTok and everything. Yeah. So, you know, once again, I just say start lean as possible. You know, I have a friend that works out of her house for many, many years. I have other friends that converted a garage. I mean, there's not a right or wrong way. And that's the beautiful thing about our medicine. We don't need an x-ray machine. We don't need this big medical equipment.
Right.
But at the same time, like my coach, Tony Robbins, he says, like, you have to think backwards. What is your goal? My goal is to be in South Coast Plaza, Costa Mesa, whatever. Okay, start small there. If that's your dream, why would you open up in Koreatown? If your dream is to be near the beach, then start there, but start small.
Start small, yeah. Wow, that's a really great advice. I think a lot of people who succeed, they're saying pretty much same thing. Start small, but have a really good plan, and then have a goal, and then network with people around you. Yeah. So.
And you know, I still, some of my friends, one of my really, really good friends, his name is Dr. Andy Rosenfarb. This white guy, Jewish, he specializes in eye conditions. one of my patients came in and says, do you do microacupuncture? I said, of course I do microacupuncture. It's the little needles in the ear and whatever. He's like, no, 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 no. This is a technique. I don't know it. I called Andy. Hey, how you doing? Hey, man, what are your points? He's like, excuse me? Who are you? So no, he did not tell me the points. But now looking back, I realize how kind of selfish that is. To think that another acupuncturist owes you an explanation, or no. We became friends over the years. He actually does some type of training for, he does some trainings for the eye to teach acupuncturists how to treat the serious eye conditions, like macular degeneration, retinitis pigmentosa, things like this. We became friends over the years, and now he's like my brother. And we went to Mexico together. We went to Costa Rica riding a horse down the beach. I mean, he's like my brother. And I love this guy. And guess what? He sends me patients. And I send him patients. Because together we're going to grow that much farther. You know, like, let's pretend I don't know you and you don't know me. And like, we can work together. You know? So I think, once again, my first rule of business is don't be greedy. You know, and what I mean by that is work together. Here's another advice that you're not asking me for the younger practitioners. Consider specializing.
Oh, wow.
A little dark. Give me 1 second. Let me put the light on real quick. So consider, oh wow, it is brighter. Consider specializing. Many practitioners are like, no, I don't want to specialize. And well, if you don't want to, you don't want to. But many people think, well, if I specialize, I'm only going to treat this, hormones or eyes, skin, whatever. In my experience, I found the opposite is true. If you are specializing in, one of my specialties is Bell's palsy, facial paralysis. Why? Number one, it's my favorite thing to treat. I could treat it every single day for the rest of my life. I love treating it. Why? For me, bringing back people's smiles. Because, you know, they're emotionally going through a lot of stuff, and then you bring it, oh my God, like we all cry. Number one, when you specialize, usually you don't have to kill yourself, like meaning work 7 days a week, 12-hour days, which I still do. But think about that. You specialize in Bell's palsy. You'll be like, well, I don't have Bell's palsy, but I have migraine headaches. So people will be like, I think he can help me because he specializes in that. Compared to another acupuncturist that, oh yeah, I do everything, A to Z, cancer, sciatica, kids, old people. It's like, so I recommend either specializing, or what I do is kind of subspecializing. Oh, my specialty is women's health, and especially fertility and PCOS, endometriosis, whatever. You know, it's like, now, even though I was a woman, I'm not looking to get pregnant. I don't have those diseases, but my hormones are off. Hey, maybe she can help me. So, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. And you can charge more. You can charge more. My other friend, Dr. Shu, Clayton Shu, he charges like $300 a visit. He specializes in neurological conditions in New York City. Dr. Rosenfarb charges $5,000 for 2 weeks. Well, is it 1 week or 2 weeks? It's either 5 days or 10 days of treatment.
Wow, 5,000. Wow.
Is that too much?
I mean, I think this is my first time hearing someone who's charging 5,000 for, 2 week, 5 or 10 days session. Wow.
I charge by commitments. I charge by time. So I charge $1,000 for the month, unlimited sessions.
Wow. Is it okay if I ask you how many patients who are committed to the monthly session?
Maybe maybe less than 10%.
Less
Because
than
I don't see, not everyone is in bad shape.
right.
This one's for strokes, for Bell's
Mhm.
palsy,
See.
for neurological conditions, migraines, like
Mhm.
the ones that are every single day, or
Yeah.
someone that can't walk. Someone, so I'll charge $299. I'm trying $299 instead of 300. I don't know if I'm going to go back, but I charge $299 for the week or $999 for the month. That includes unlimited visits,
Mm-hmm.
hanyak, herbs,
Herbs. Mm-hmm.
even if it's powder, granules, even if it's no gil, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's ginseng, it doesn't matter. It's like now the pressure's on me. Because what I learned in physical therapy is that they never tell you how many sessions. They tell you the treatment is 3 weeks or 3 months. They go by time.
I
So
see.
you and I know many times you can help someone with sciatic pain, maybe in 1, 2, 3 sessions. Yeah, but sometimes it takes more. Wouldn't it be better to tell them come for a week, come every day?
Right.
And okay, if you do a great job and they're better in 1 or 2 sessions, are they not going to be happy? So you tell them a week and you get them better in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean you do the same treatment every day. Maybe one day is moxa, maybe one day's cupping,
Mm-hmm.
maybe one day's tuina. I don't
Right.
like tuina. I don't want to get greasy hands, but you know what I mean? Like you can do e-moxa or whatever. You can do different things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot easier to make money that way. So you get a patients that are doing $1,000 treatments, or like
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Rosenfarb. I just told you, $5,000. You know how many treatments he does in a day? 60, 70. Last
Wow.
week, he saw 100. He did 100 treatments in one day by himself. So
Wow.
maybe we should interview him next. No. But he's a humble guy. He doesn't brag about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about this because this is going to be heard by students and by new grads and maybe some old people like me, but it's to inspire us. I have a friend of mine. He does the evil bone water.
Yes, Mark, right? We're gonna interview him for next episode.
He is awesome. I hung out with him.
Mm-hmm.
I hung out with him maybe 2, 3 months ago because I was in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
We hung out, we ate, we drank. I mean, once again, our community is awesome. It's like you think Korean churches are everywhere. No, it's like we're everywhere, and it's awesome. But no, we got together, and
Mm-hmm.
what a great, great, great guy. And I remember one day he's like, I don't want to say it on Facebook because I don't want to feel like I'm bragging, but it's like I'm so happy, but I'm kind of ashamed because I know a lot of the practitioners are not doing well. And I said, I think you have to. When Dongguk University asked me to talk to their students, at first I was like, no, 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 no. But then I was like, yeah, they need because maybe a Korean, South Belo student or Dongguk student looks at me and they're like, wait a second, this Cuban Mexican guy has a busy clinic. Oh, hell yeah, I know I can do better, whatever. But no, I mean, it's something to think about, something to consider. But yeah, think about specializing. Like I said, I could talk hours about anything, but consider specializing. Even if you're fresh out of school, it doesn't matter. Think about it. Whenever someone's looking for a doctor, they don't care if they just graduated or how. No, a doctor's a doctor, whether they got A's or they barely passed.
Right.
And if they're specializing, automatically you're like, oh, he's smart. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can be a brain surgeon focusing on on stroke or whatever. And it's like, wow, you're so young looking. But you know what? She must be smart. They're not going to be like, oh, she's too young for me. I don't want her as my doctor. No. And there's some ignorant people like that. You don't want them anyway. So.
Wow, that's really great story and a lot of good advice to students and even for practitioner. Thank you so much for sharing those
I know
stories.
you told me 20 minutes, but
Oh no, this is great. This is
maybe
great.
do a timestamp, like, okay, 5 minute mark, we talked about
Oh
I
no,
don't
no,
know.
no. We want more information, more stories, and I think you told us a lot of interesting stories and then inspiring stories from you and then from other acupuncturists. And I think we all need to hear this, and then we all need to help each other. Yeah.
And I'm going to end it with this, like, whether you're a student, new grad, or, old like me, don't compare yourself to anybody in life. Seriously. You have no idea what they're going through, what they've been through, and everything else. So whether they have a nice car, a big clinic, or whatever, it's like, focus on gratitude of, what you have. And there's nothing wrong to admire other people's pretty stuff or whatever, but don't let greed or negative energy get into the space, because it's going to affect you. Whenever I meet these acupuncturists and they're doing great, when I went to Jiaxing, and oh my God, I'm telling you, it's like going to the holy place, it's like, you just go in there, you're like, Korean medicine can do this. Like, there's no doctors, there's no surgeon. I mean, medical doctors. There's no surgeons. And these doctors are so busy. Like, how's that possible? And I just told you about Andy, how busy he can get. I didn't believe him when he used to tell me, oh yeah, I see 60 patients. I'm like, get out of here. Get out of here. Because I've been to Asia. You still there? Okay, sorry, I'm a little.
Oh, I'm here.
But guess what he did? He invited me to his clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw how he moved. And I was like, oh, teach me.
So I think you're able to get to that level is because you continue on your training, and then you're willing to learn from the others.
It's a shortcut. It's a shortcut. If I want to be, Arnold Schwarzenegger, big muscle, I need to hang out with them. I need to meet them. Somebody that's already doing it. It's like, hey man, teach me. I'll do whatever, you know what I mean? So that's the secret. That's not a secret. It's just that I think we focus more about, or what makes us different, or I don't know. I really don't understand. But it's not just us though. It's not just us. Chiropractors, once again, even though we think of them, some of us think of them like, oh, they're the enemy. You see, the wrong thinking. They want to help people just like you.
Right.
So why not be friends?
That's a great
But
point.
I keep on saying that over and over. It's like, learn from others. Just learn from others as much as you can.
Nice. Well, so Carlos, thank you so much for sharing your stories today. I think that was our last question for today's interview.
Until part 2.
Until part 2, yes. We will visit Texas and
come on. We have 2 Jimji bongs. We have yeah, that's about it. We have 2 no.
No. We would love to visit your clinic, and then hopefully get to know each other a little bit more, and then show students and other like recent graduate practitioners how you actually run your business.
Sure.
That's really great. All right. Thank you everyone for watching this today. If you like the content, please like this video and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comment down below, and I'll leave Carlos' information on the comment as well. Okay, thank you everyone. See you next time.